We will have something more interactive. And for that, we need some people on the stage. Who are they, Ott?
These people are Karel Kulbin from Tallinn University, Anja Johansson standing here, Indrek Kelk somewhere. Here, Indrek is coming. Mr. Karel is, we invite others as well when I introduce. Please, Ivanne from Austria. And Kadi Genk, who had to leave her son second time today already. So, please come here, take a seat here. You can choose. Who is the first? Yeah. Who doesn't have headsets, you get physical ones.
Yeah.
Should be working. And you will have a word as well. You can sit there as well.
Oh.
We have 2 tables and 1 elephant. 2 elephants. Do you have enough? Almost. We couldn't take more people. We have run out of time and mics. But what we will do, we will bring. Okay, I will help. I'm kind of volunteering.
Oops.
So we'll bring
Let's
out
put
the
it here.
And pens. And at point, what we do, we'll do it a bit interactively. And the idea is that the topic is future of successful sport events. And initially, we start with defining trends. Which are the trends which are influencing our events in the future? We heard climate warming, but what are the other trends? And I would first ask from you, just randomly speak out what trends might be influencing our sport events, and then our dear audience can say the same thing. And later on, we will go and rate which is the most important one. And there are no wrong answers. So, who would like to start? Austrian trends.
Yeah, I'm going to start. I think a trend at the moment for sport events is that sport for events is not enough. You need to attract or give some more program to the people that they are coming and joining the sport events. So find a way around the sport event.
It's like more like entertaining.
Yes, exactly.
Not only sports, entertainment around sports. Okay, any other ideas? Ain?
Well, I think it's really good advice. I think it's also more and more ecological footprint, which is really important. People are more aware how the sport events are made and what they leave behind. It's been topic in Estonia at least quite a bit.
The second is sustainability.
We will do our best here.
Yeah.
Can I add?
Yeah. Sure.
By my mind, this word of stamina is not cool anymore. Stamina, it's mean Latin endurance. Yeah. And such classical long distance sport, it's not popular in younger generation. Short distance is more fun, more entertainment.
Thanks, Indrek. I forgot to introduce our new speakers. Mr. Indrek Kelk is head of Club Tartu Marathon, who is leading the biggest skiing marathons, running marathons, some of the running marathons, as well as mountain biking and road biking events. So he knows a lot about different sport disciplines. Because stamina is not working anymore, more short-term or shorter distance, and more fun. Actually, we see many color runs going around. People are beating each other and running, 5Ks. And actually, one trend is medals are getting bigger. I mean, in the 70s, the Olympic champion got a medal like this. But now, medals, and they get bigger. I saw Audi medal. The Audi winter run is going to be in Tallinn. The medal was like this. They did like all Audi circles into the medal. But I don't know where it ends up. It's not an environmental footprint with these medals. It's quite big. Emotional is big as well. So now it's a trade-off between the emotion and the footprint.
If people really care for them, then, go for it. But the question is, will they really cherish it for the rest of their lives, or is it something they need to get rid of the next time they move? I will add to the environmental footprint that visible part that trash that piles up as a result of the events. That's what both the participants can see, but also what the public sees after, and that kind of attention towards the trash created.
And we have seen it actually in Tallinn as well, that they take the pictures immediately. These all things are cleaned up in half an hour or 1 hour, but they take the picture before and they put it to internet, and then everybody sees that, okay, so we dressed up the Tallinn city. The next day everything is clean, but they don't care. Okay, it's...
Good. How would you put that? I suppose attention around the trash of the... let's just put trash. I think this is the important
Leftovers.
part.
If we look this point of organizer point of view, then our target must be to use less materials, what is only for single use, and as lot as possible recycling or multiple using.
This is the reason actually why we didn't do the batches, because there was a scientific study made that please don't do this one-time things from plastic or paper or whatever, but you're not recycling, but you're not necessarily using. And there is a big study, and actually they showed huge amount of resources which go into only this conference things that we are throwing away anyway.
I want to add to this. I think sustainability is a word which we need to add. Sustainability.
Sustainability we wrote here. Number 2. It came also from mine, I think. Mr. Professor, Mr. Kulbin is academician.
Definitely not professor, but what I wanted to add is about the sustainability is that I'm thinking that at the moment we are seeing the kind of a first wave of sustainability issue that at the moment I guess that like in many fields, also in events, we see the wave where events start. So at the moment, they just want to maybe show that they are sustainable. If we are looking at the facts and then in an objective way, it's much harder because, for example, if we, what do you think which is more economically friendly to hold a running event in the city of Tallinn or running event, for example, in Kõrvemaa, which is like a national park close to Tallinn? First of all, I mean, first thought would be that it's maybe in the nature, as it looks like that, but actually because of the transportation, it's the way around. That it's definitely more economically friendly to hold events where people are.
It's with the city marathons as well. You might have 40,000 people, but if 10,000 are flying in, I mean, what about footprint? You might use recycled caps, but if planes are flying...
Yes, exactly. That's what we were discussing, that using the plastic cups is not definitely the worst thing economically if you look at different kind of city marathons.
But what if, will the future be more like small events instead of big ones? Or?
This is definitely a trend, what we have seen already past 10 years, that there is the number of events total in the world has never been bigger than at the moment, but the average number of participants is less than before.
Principle, I agree with this. We don't directly lose our participants, but we saw that people intend more to the local small races, village races in his hometown, and in Estonia we saw the trend in last 2-3 years that this medium size of cycling races, example, lose most of participants. The biggest one, the top, is quite good, and the medium lose his participant to the small one.
So it's localism versus globalism in sport events.
And that's also that people evaluated more and more their time, what they waste for the traveling to the event. If it is take 5 hours per day to drive there and back, it's too much.
Well, I totally agree about that. I think races, because there is the quality of races and the amount of races increases a lot. Opportunities for athletes to participate in some sports are so much more local now. So the usual sports tourism, if you can say so, is increasing definitely. And you have more opportunities nearby to do the same sports, so it's more regional. So if 10 years ago we had maybe only 10, 15 Ironman races, so you would travel to Hawaii or around the world to have a chance to race. Now basically every continent has at least 10 or 15, so you don't have to go so far. You still have a good opportunity to race.
You know, I won Karujärve triathlon this year because not too many people racing. You can win. I mean, you have to tackle the event where you can win. And the big ones you won't win.
Definitely, then you can also say that although maybe more events become local, then sports has also moved more into social media. People share their preparation, also their wins, their experiences later. So that definitely has kind of a wider impact to practicing sports and gives meaning to doing it.
And this is, of course, the reason why the number of small events has been raising, that it's so easy to market them for everyone.
I think it's already been as well, but we see from our participant numbers that our participants are getting older. That means that the future generation are not involved in the right way. There is efforts to do so, but our age, participant age, average age is getting older.
And actually, this is the same with the cars. Actually, the ones who are buying these SUVs are quite often elderly people. It's much easier to sit in and get out. I mean, you might buy the Porsche, but you can get in, but you can't get out. So, but they're definitely not saying that, you know, these cars are only for seniors. But in their mind, actually, they know that this is the target group.
It's not only seniors, it's for taller people as well.
You might buy a motorbike or ride a bike. We have special ones. Actually, these are designed in Estonia. The one left hand costs 4,000 euros and the other 5, I think, or something like that. They're cheaper than the motorized, the medium part.
Okay, so few more, or we will start to...
We'll start with the people as well. What do you think? Do we have any other trends? What about technologies? We have a hand from Ida-Virumaa. Yes.
Hi. I'm predicting one trend that after all this entertainment and bigger medals and shorter distances, there will also be smaller niche events that are not popular, that are, for example, for longer distances, no medals, no entertainment, just sports. This is my prediction. Thank you.
I know the Club Tartu Marathon does a retro event. We saw retro pictures from Seefeld.
I'm totally agree. This some special accents is also trend. Very tough. That's cool. Yeah. And
you have to be different.
Old fashioned. That's also cool. And what I like to add. I lose my mind. Sorry.
You get back.
I think it's one really important part is that, for example, we talk a lot about endurance sport. This is where we are as well. And I see a lot of innovation coming in. The thing is, it's really difficult to watch marathon running if you're just sitting one place because it's 42 kilometers, or even so Ironman Tallinn, which takes place, the fastest goes through it with 8.5 hours or 8 hours. So I see the participant experience and also local community experience and the spectator experience through innovation, it will be much more or much better viewable with GPS tracker, with platforms where you can see how people are progressing. So I think the innovation in a kind of hacking endurance sport is something which will come very shortly.
Yes, I remembered my idea. That is virtual marathons. That's also things what we want to look, because I don't believe that a single event like virtual marathon can be very successful in next 2 or 3 years in Estonia, but as a side event or marketing tool, that's also in future.
What about the e-sports?
I mean, e-shopping.
E-shopping. Is it sports? E-shopping is shopping, I know, but...
Well, you'd call that there's this couch sports that people also do. So in a way, you get the same rush. So if you get the same demographic into doing something else rather than shopping, then I think there's a great target group there to win.
We had Black Friday. I mean, the best opportunity to save is to stay at home, not going out.
Well, that actually brings a great example from Patagonia, who's actually done the best marketing campaign by saying we close all our shops on Black Friday because, go out and do some, hiking or sports. So it's just a bit about the way how you look at it and at the same time performing your values about living more sustainably.
But you started before, we can, I guess, wrap the technology thing that definitely it has changed already for a long time. Sports, specific sports, if you think about ski jumping, how it has changed because of technology, they don't have to wait for the wind anymore. Different things that also biking actually, I mean road biking for the spectators. Before the Wi-Fi television broadcasting, it was not so interesting to watch. And for example, orienteering, which is now possible to sell for the television because of the GPS and things like that. So and I guess it just keeps going that in different ways how technology is, especially for the spectator events, I guess, because they're not. I mean, the larger spectator events is nothing else than a TV show.
Okay, but more from the people audience. Is the microphone there somewhere?
One is
yeah.
Microphone. Hello. I just want to add one little thing to Yvonne's first point about entertainment. What we see now that we have to bear in mind families. So it's the trend is that you have to, if you organize some event, you have to think about not only this participant, you have to think about his wife or girlfriend or boyfriend. Then if they have a child, what possibilities are to spend the time meanwhile their friend or husband is on the race. Do we have something to offer them so they feel themselves entertained? And they spend a good time, then they go home, then they call to the friends, listen, I have been to such a cool event, come next time with me. Do you understand my point?
Yeah, I understood the point.
Yeah.
I mean, I was doing Copenhagen triathlon and my children went to Tivoli. And during the time I spent in Tivoli, I did perhaps half of a bike track. So events are long and families, what they do. I mean, one option is to volunteer. You can be on the track, inside the game. You can put medals on to your wife or girlfriend or somebody. I mean, you can be part of a game instead of just consuming something in Copenhagen. Do we have any other ideas? Yes, there are two. Girls first.
Another trend is, as we can prove with the Wings for Life World Run, sporting events with a good cause. people like doing that if the event is bigger than just doing sports, if there is a good cause behind it, so they really love it.
Good course. It's a good idea, and then also it's a good course, and you can do it at home. You can participate in a big event, but like the app runs, but you can be at home and you can do it alone or with your family. It's not that you need to go to the event.
School.
Good course.
Oh, good course.
So there's a reason why, the bigger reason behind the event itself. And the second, please.
Yeah, it's actually what I was going to say, that people nowadays are looking for more meaning and more experience in sporting events to look at and to participate in, because there's so many events to choose from and things to do, so they want to have more meaning. Either it's going through a triathlon once in their lifetime, to train for that for 1 year and then be done with it, or climb a mountain or hike somewhere, or they just want to have meaning in it. And as the Red Bull event shows, that people are willing to go and run, even if they are maybe haven't run before in years. But if it's for a good cause, if it's for a reason, then they will do it. So that's definitely one trend I see in sports. And from the organizer's side, our business is to make our cause clear to them, or communicate in that way that they know what is the cause behind it, or help them find the cause. So that's what we have to do to get people to come to events or see our stuff. So.
And because of the trendy corporate social responsibility thing, it's also, I guess, easier to attract sponsors with a cause-related events, and we see it also in Estonia. I mean, globally already for many years, but also in Estonia, that this kind of sponsorship agreements can be easily reachable. I mean, more easily.
I mean, one of the options for sponsoring is that employees of the sponsor are also participating in the particular event. So, because I mean, what is one of the tasks of the secretariat or the big boss is to figure out how to entertain your people, and this is thought through instead of you, for example, volunteering in a certain event. I mean, you don't have to think to go to seminar room, but you can just go to whatever event and volunteer with the team, and you do the same team building event. So but what it is that we innovate in sports, we have more and more sport events, but people still don't move. We have like one third of people in Europe who are more active, physically active, and 2/3 are not active. And trend is going worse. So the guys who do it more, but what about the rest?
I'm sure there are some commitment issues. First of all, it's very easy to get involved with different sports these days. You get information in internet, how to get stuff done, but you're not necessarily involved in any community. You don't belong in a club, which means already that you don't have the community around you that makes you stick to anything. You can test, you can come and do and try, but the regularity of doing sports becomes less and less, and definitely that's involved with the younger generation who's just into, trying out new stuff. You don't have to go to a club anymore to get the information how to do things. You get the information from somewhere else individually, and you get your kind of high individually. You can share it in social media afterwards with your Endomondo tracks. So it doesn't bind you. It doesn't make you maybe race against your own, or against even against your own time, or against your neighbor. So they're not necessarily a good thing, but if it's something that brings people continuously out, maybe something to push for again.
But there was a study made in Ukraine, in Kiev, and they were counting steps, how many steps during a day the youngsters are doing at school. And do you know what was the record? 200. 200 steps a day. So meaning that, what's needed? 60 minutes a day. It's basically to walk half an hour to school and half an hour back, and it's done. Meaning that they're not moving at all. The point that they're not going to the club is not a big problem. The problem is that they don't move at all.
I think I think you need to motivate children at a very young age so sport becomes a normal lifestyle for them. Because if you're introduced to different kinds of sports at a very young age, there is no barrier to start them. Once you are an adult and you haven't done sports, it's way harder to get started. So it needs to start in kindergarten, it needs to start at school. So, and we need to focus on this, and I can only tell you from Austria, I mean, they are cutting down on sports hours at school because of the costs, which is ridiculous. It's totally the wrong way to go.
I think it's important to understand that it starts really early age, but it starts from the family. Because that's the first round around the little kid who defines who you are and what you're going to do. So in this way, we would need to guide the young ones in the right direction, but it's done mostly by first your families and then your school and your kindergarten and so on and so on. So motivation is a part.
I totally agree, but if the family is not working, then kindergarten and school needs to do it. Yeah.
But there is one option with schools. We have made one logic is to make a sort of a 1 kilometer red circle around the school. Even if we want to drive your kids to home, there is 1 kilometer, last kilometer that the kid needs to walk. And there was a study made where the parents were asked, why do you drive your children to school? Do you know what the reason is? The way to school is too dangerous. But it is exactly dangerous because we are driving. Everybody's driving, and that makes it dangerous. So I totally agree that we need like simple solutions which can be used broad-based.
Definitely, you have to want to think about what is sports. Are we talking about healthy movement habits? Or are we talking about if you don't sweat blood, then you're not doing it right type of behavior? So most people, I mean, you're talking about people who do sports, there's enough who do sports on that level. The question is about healthy movement behavior, and that definitely requires not, first of all, even being graded at a physical exercise class in school. It doesn't matter how well I perform that running that 100 meters. I mean, I can be rewarded for it, but the question is, what is the real purpose behind moving, and does it really have to be a movement for movement itself, or is it a part of something bigger? So it's about really introducing habits through movements. That example, to have to walk to school some way, is a very good one.
Yeah, I mean, the World Health Organization defines activity in a way that it's 60 minutes a day, but you are slightly wet. So meaning that you are not yet running, but you are not kind of going like this, something in between. If you're getting late to school, then it's the right speed. So you can sleep longer and then your speed is right. But
hello, do you hear me? Anita's comment that you can compare it to kind of like learning a new language. If you live in the environment, it's around you, then you can learn it in a few months, and you're getting used to it, and you're basically fluent in it. But if you don't have it around you at all, and your family doesn't do it, and so on, then you feel like it's your duty, or it's not your wish from the bottom of your heart. So yeah, basically, I agree that you have to have it around you.
I think a good example for this is the Scandinavian country with cross-country skiing. The families or the kids actually grow up with cross-country skiing. So children, families go cross-country skiing, and when you have a look at the idols, the athletes at the cross-country World Cup, who is dominating the sport? These are the Norways. So kind of that's a circle. Then the kids have idols at the World Cup, seeing them in TV, so they want to go cross-country skiing, take it with father and mother. So I agree with Anita, that's from the families, that's in the schools, but still take it up to the World Cup level. So it's all one circle, and we should have a thinking of that. That's important to have those idols which come from the bottom.
It's like a pyramid scheme, you need all layers. But then we need to wrap up it, and I give a ball, and you can 3 times throw it to the audience. And the person who kind of catches should say should basically say which is the most important trend from their perspectives. or which trend do they like the most?
Or how
shortly
does it,
talk what we are, you can say.
Yeah.
What did you continue?
No, I wanted to say that every person gets to say, like, how does it mõjutab?
One option that you can say that how it influences your own
Your own
activities.
organization or activities, yeah.
Or you can also say what is just more important and what they are. Participants are getting older, family sport is important, entertainment around events, sustainability of sports, shorter distances, more fun, bigger medals, attention around sports, less materials use, localism, very localism versus globalism, big events. Time waste on traveling, sport goes to social media and its influence. Virtual marathons, virtual engagements, volunteering, good cause behind events, community engagement,
And so
more
on.
meaning behind events. You can throw the ball somewhere, and then the ladies first. You can kick it as well. Okay.
If the ball comes at you, then you have to take it and answer.
Oh, Mike, just a minute.
Okay, I think the most important one is probably family, that the events for the whole family.
Okay, family got 5 points. Like in Eurovision. You can now throw somewhere the
Yeah,
ball.
you can throw it yourself.
10 points.
10 points are coming from...
You knocked her out.
Pass it on.
What is the most important thing influencing the future of sports?
It's quite hard to choose actually, because I think there would be like many answers, not only one correct one.
So you can share your 5 points to different ones. But from a personal perspective, more sustainable events, greener events.
I think maybe if I have to choose one, then the sustainability still.
Okay, sustainability got also 5 points. You can throw now somewhere to a friend or not so good friend.
Not the microphone. You can give it to me or pass it on there somehow.
You have to move for that.
Yeah, exactly.
5 steps.
Okay, working. Thank you for the ball. I would also not like to choose one, but maybe the most important thing for me is to get those non-active or non-sporty people to participate in the events also. So it can be involving the family, putting more entertainment to it. So yeah, different ones.
Yeah, we can do a few more from the audience, and then we can ask the people.
The ball should
here.
fly somewhere. And the mic should follow. Don't throw it.
Not like that.
I think local event starts matter the most because people have a lot of options to choose from, even in a small place like Estonia. They can go to an Ironman, they can go to 6 different Tartu Kubik events and so on. And therefore the easiest option to take is whatever happens in Nõmme or Pirita or Tartu Supilin.
Okay, localism. Thanks. And please throw a ball somewhere.
Excuse me.
The mic follows. It's a low-tech solution, but we need to move.
I think small events will be the future.
Okay, localism again. Good.
Yeah, local.
And let's do once more, and then we need to wrap it up.
So where's the ball?
I think that also, as said before, it's difficult maybe to choose one, but I think several of those criteria on the board mean that engaging your own sports community becomes more and more important because they all influence that. So I think that's the key to successful events in the future.
Thank you. So I'll take the ball too.
Okay, and then I'll give the word to the panel as well for your last words. What do you think is the most important from that table?
Before I'm answering that question, maybe it's good shortly to point out that actually spectator sport events and participant sport events are really different. We look at them as similar maybe often, but spectator sports are not too much actually related to sports. If you look at the football stadium with 100,000 spectators and 22 guys doing sport and 100,000 of them drinking beer, what's the and sometimes one of them runs.
They call it economic development.
So it's also the trends, I guess, are somewhat different. That spectator events they won't get too local. I guess that they will get more and more global. But participant events get more local. That's my opinion.
Spectator events get bigger and participant events local.
Exactly. But I want to add that I see that participant events have always more of a future because they are giving more rewards and more benefits, especially in a psychological way also, and of course physiologically much more.
And also we need to rethink the fan culture. I mean, they might do something more as well. Do you have any other options, or how would you rate here? What's the most important?
I'm just going to go with sports should promote healthy lifestyle. And yes, sometimes it can take an environmental impact to drive to a forest. But if you take in your mission that in the course you promote respect towards the forest, then you've done good. So let's kind of look at the more holistic picture and just be respectful towards the environment we use and be mindful of all the participants within the system with the general goal, health of everyone and everything.
It's like sustainability, we can define it differently. So
yeah, but let's say sports can actually work for the health of the people and the planet. It just sounds so much better than sustainability.
Yeah, it might come from Brussels, the word. I don't know. Any other ideas?
I am agree this environmental side and this Brussels word. Also the most important, and I am agree also this is a small event supporting club I be because I kill myself as a big mass event organizer, but by my mind the biggest footprint of the big mass event is not coming from the plastic caps, but from the 1,000 forsaken participants who are coming by the plane. And that's why I like that people moving less and make sport in near his home.
Thank you, Indrek. Joanna?
I'll make it short. I think sustainability is, for me, the word. As an organizer, it's our responsibility to have a look at the resources.
Well, it's all said already, but I want to mention that I agree with everything has been told over here on this panel, but innovation is our future.
Innovation, and why definition of innovation?
It's innovation in a way that you can involve more people. you can make it more wider. If the mass participation event is right now local, this local event can be worldwide important. So
involving innovation.
Yes.
Okay, well done. Involving innovation got 1, sustainability and wide perspective of sustainability got at least 3 votes. Family sport got few, localism got as well 3 votes, and non-sporty to sport, family, any kind of activity which brings non-active people to sports works. Thank you everyone. Thank you our panel. Let's give a big applause to our panel.